Hi everybody, welcome to my page and welcome to the live video this evening. So I wanted to talk to you today about some comments that I've had through from clients, when they've come to see me, etc., and they've been infuriated at some of the comments that they've had from people that they've worked with, be it GPs, counsellors, nurses, and things like, you don't look like you've got an eating disorder, or there's been, oh, I've seen worse than you, or even, but you look like you eat. And I just find this absolutely incredible that, I don't know, that sort of like, because you can, when I was ill, I used to get sort of like comments from like older people, or people sort of like that maybe just didn't know any better, and just, I always say that you never understand somebody with an eating disorder and what goes on unless you've been there yourself. So, you can kind of make excuses for a certain amount of people, and, it's sort of, and you do have this kind of stereotypical what you think that a person with an eating disorder looks like, or what they eat, or what they don't eat, etc. You have all of that, and that was part of my issue, is that I didn't feel like I fitted into that. But anyway, that aside, so you can kind of, you can make excuses for some people, but I just used, and I had this myself, and I just find it incredible that professionally trained people that are used to kind of dealing with people would make these comments that are really, really, they're not even supportive, they're really unhelpful, and I have no idea why they feel the need to kind of, what it is that goes through their head to make them come out with that. I really find it, okay, to say that you don't understand, sort of like that person, or you even have, a judgment about that person, which you shouldn't, but hey ho, a lot of people do. But to actually say it out loud just absolutely astonishes me, because the effect that it can have can be absolutely devastating and can fuel, sort of like you in further into this eating disorder. I just don't get it at all. And I had this with my, with myself. I'd gone to the GP previously, and I'd got some help. And and whether it was just that I wasn't in the right place to kind of like fully embrace that help, or I was told that I'd have sort of like 6 weeks of sort of like 50 minutes counselling, and I just thought that's never going to be enough. I didn't particularly kind of like get on well with the woman, and I just I did disengage from it. I could have made more out of it, I'm sure, but I didn't. So I'm not blaming it totally on this lady, but it was the way that it was. Anyway, so I kind of like resolved to try things myself, and, I think at that point, sort of like after a while, sort of like different things happened in my life. The stress is kind of like on me, kind of like came down. So, but I actually went from anorexia to bulimia, and as a result I ended up restoring some weight, and and I'd gone into kind of like my local doctor's surgery for my children, and I'd seen the doctor that I'd kind of earlier on got the diagnosis of anorexia from, and he'd always say hi and da-di-da-di-da, and I actually went, and then things kind of like took another turn, and things got even worse than they did before. but it was after quite a substantial time that, you know, they go through the whole denial and oh no, things aren't like that again. Went back to the GP, and basically he said to me, well, I'm not going to refer you right now because, you know, you got over it before, didn't you? And I could not believe it, because as you know, when you're kind of struggling with something like this, going to the doctors is not just like going to the doctors for a headache or you kind of got a pain or anything like that. This is big stuff, you know. It's not, you don't do it lightly. It involves a whole shitload of terror, you know, that you have to kind of go through and work up to, and then to be kind of like greeted with that was just I was astonished, and I thought, how do you know that I, you know, kind of like got better all by myself before? How do you know? Because I put on weight? You know, is that what you kind of saw? You saw me putting on weight, so therefore you thought that I was okay. And the thing is this is why people struggle. You know, they struggle to go and get help in the first place, but they struggle to kind of like to want to almost try to recover, because they think that while they're doing this, people will see them eating and then everything will be hunky-dory and people will be fine. But you know what? It's not fine, because unless our, you know, the stuff that goes on in our head, unless that is sorted, then we're not fine, you know. And I couldn't believe that a doctor was kind of like judging me and kind of saying those things. I just could not believe it. You can see I'm still a bit passionate and a bit sort of like thinking about this now. But yeah, I couldn't believe that he'd say those words, you know, and that really affected me. And I know another instance, I was sort of like, you know, I had to go for a health check a couple of years ago, and it was this time I was recovered and it was all fine and everything, but it was that kind of, you know, I hit 40, and you know, I don't look that old, do I? Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of hit that lovely age, and I just, you know, sort of like was invited for a health check, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll go. And she was going through all the sort of like all the bits involved, and she said, oh, could you just jump on the scales? And I said, well, I don't want to know my BMI, you know, I make it a point that I don't want to know. And if I've ever gone sort of like for in the past and they've needed to know, I've kind of stood on the scales backwards, and I just choose not to know. And so she said, oh, that's fine, we don't have to weigh you, and we just kind of did the rest of the tests, etc. So she said, oh, just book another appointment, couple of weeks time to come and get your results. So I went back and I was dealing with another nurse and stuff, and she said, oh, by the way, your BMI is da-di-da-di-da, absolutely fine and perfect, and you know, and I was, excuse me? She said, your BMI is this. I said, but how do you know? I didn't get on the scales, you know, when I was here before. I specifically said I didn't want to know my BMI, so I chose not to stand on the scales. The nurse said that that was okay, and I didn't have to know my BMI. And she went, oh, well, we must have just took it from your last pill check, you know, that you came in for. So she starts rattling off on the computer, oh, yes, that's exactly what we've done. So I said, but I didn't want to know. I specifically said to you that I didn't want to know, and I explained the reason why I didn't want to know. And she just sort of like breezily said, oh, you know now, don't you? And again, I couldn't believe that she just kind of like was so dismissive of it. There was no apology. There was no sort of like, you know, oh, how do you feel about knowing now? You know, surely that, you know. there was nothing. It was just kind of like dismissed, nothing. Like it wasn't a big deal, and I was being stupid or pathetic or whatever for bringing it up in the first place. And I got back and I was absolutely livid. And it wasn't, it was more because I was thinking of other people in that situation. And I was thinking about if that had been me years before, sort of like going through that process of recovery. And, that would have really that would have really triggered me. And, and I would have been deeply affected by that. And although I'm still a bit pissed off about it now, as you can probably tell by the way that I'm speaking, but it's more about because I realised that you can't talk to people like that, and I just don't get it. And it's like, I don't care whether it's a GP, a nurse, a healthcare professional, a counsellor. I don't care whether if I go to see somebody for any issue, I don't care whether I'm sort of like the 900th person that they've seen over this year, and I've gone in and I've talked about the same things, like so many people have said to me before. I've gone in about my stuff, and I am me, and I don't care if you've heard this before. You have signed up for this. This is your job. This is what you've kind of wanted to do. You are there to help people, and it's not helpful kind of like treating them with disrespect, being judgmental, and not listening and not giving empathy. And I just don't get it. And so I guess it's from these experiences that I'm really passionate about the way that I work with my clients now. And it doesn't matter to me how many clients I see during the day, and whether they, there's a lot of people that I have that have kind of like very similar issues, obviously, because I work with, people who struggle with sort of like similar things. But it doesn't matter whether, you're the nth person that I see that day or that week or that month, and you're kind of like telling me the same thing that maybe somebody's kind of like talked to me about, previously. I signed up to my work because I want to help people. Not because I'm going to sit and judge and kind of like, say stupid little comments that are going to affect people. I sit there and I listen. I listen to every word that they say, because do you know why? It's important to them. They are struggling. And, me adding my bits in there is not helpful at all. I don't sit in judgment of these people. I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. It's bloody awful. And I just don't get it, why people are treated this way. So I just really wanted to, sorry, calm down, Kim, do some tapping. Yeah, I just don't understand it. And this is why it's really important to me in my work that I treat people with the utmost of respect. I listen to every word that they say, and I don't judge, and I am full of empathy because of where I've been. I know, what it's like. I know how hard it is. So I never ever judge people for anything, because who am I to judge? Everybody has got a story. Everybody has a reason why. And it's not for me to kind of like look down on anybody or kind of like have my opinion about, what they're doing, because it's not. And it's not anybody's bloody opinion, or nobody should judge anybody. So yes, I will get off my soapbox and my high horse now. And yes, thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for listening. If you ever, kind of like maybe you're at that point and you are thinking about kind of like reaching out for some help, but you're not sure where to turn to, you're not quite sure what's right for you or anything like that. And you might have seen that I'd shared in the group something on DBT today. And I'd sort of said, like, I came across this article helping people with eating disorders. I've never tried it. I haven't really kind of experienced it before for me. As you know, I'm an EFT practitioner. But, you know, I'm all about helping people. And it doesn't matter whether, you know, you choose to use EFT or it's something else. I'm just all about helping people. And if I can point people in a direction other than me, if I'm not the right person, then I will happily do that, you know. So if you want to talk to somebody, whether you want to talk to me specifically about what I do, or you just want some advice and guidance on, you know, talking through options from somebody who knows what it's like, somebody that's not going to judge you, not going to, you know, that is going to listen, you know, then please just get in touch with me. Give me a call. You know, we can arrange a chat, because I will not, you know, I will be there to help you in any way that I can. Like I said, even if it doesn't involve working with me, it's absolutely fine. I mean, ideally I'd love to help, but it's not what I'm doing this for. So, okay. So thank you very much for listening. I think I had a couple of people on live with me, but it doesn't always say. So thank you if you came on live with me, and I am live in my Facebook group again tomorrow at 12 o'clock. If you have any comments, any questions, you want to share your stories about sort of, you know, comments that have really sort of like bothered you, please write them. Feel free to write them in the comments below. I'll be, you know, and yeah, we can all get angry together, but it's not good to get angry, so we can tap on that. We can have a group session on tapping on that. All right, thanks so much, and have a great rest of your evening if you're in the UK. If you're in the US of A, then have a good rest of your day. Anywhere else in the world, have a good one too. All right, now you take care. I'll speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye.